Oh, I'm
No.
sorry about that. Didn't want to interrupt you. I mean,
Yeah,
because
it's all good.
Chris is the socialite of Gate City Sports Radio. So
That's not saying much.
as his phone will continuously beep during all broadcast. All right, so Mr. Christopher, 5 things that you would type, and tell me if you would hit send. Would you tweet it or delete it? First thing is, with many states now legalizing marijuana for recreational use, major college programs and professional associations should no longer test for it as part of their overall package.
Delete it.
Delete that.
As long as marijuana is illegal anywhere an athlete competes, it shouldn't be allowed for either team. I'm not even sure if we know yet if that would be an asset or a hindrance using it. So if it's illegal where one team resides, it should be banned for all teams.
I know that a lot of the CBD oils and things like that are starting to get Rob Gronkowski, which just retired from the NFL. You know, he's an open spokesman. He's saying it's helping with a lot of his pains and things like that. Of course, that shows up as a positive test for marijuana.
Right.
And a lot of athletes that deal with injuries, you know, that they're saying that that's a better form or better opportunity for them to have relief. But again, I think it's such a new thing, just like we were talking about. A lot of people are talking about vaping. Before we got into it, they really didn't know what the side effects were going to be or the long-term effects. So, you know, CBD oils and things like that, you know, like you were talking about. So,
Well,
so
you know, I mean, if it's legal everywhere, I don't see how you could make it illegal. But if it were to give an advantage to one team and it be legal there, but they go somewhere, they compete against a team where it is illegal, then that's going to give them an unfair advantage or vice versa. So until it's legal everywhere, I say no.
He says no. Delete that. Don't tweet it. All right. Second thing, tweet it or delete it. Athletes from this era are better physically, but athletes from the 1970s and 80s were tougher. Would you tweet that or would you delete that?
I would absolutely tweet it.
Tweet it.
Joe,
That's fact.
I mean, I could not imagine Joe Green, L.C. Greenwood sitting out a game with turf toe. Ricky Rudd drove at Daytona, for Pete's sake, with his eyes duct taped open. You remember Curt Schilling's pitching performance? I know that was in the early 2000s, blood soaking through his sock.
Mm-hmm.
You just don't see that anymore. Brett Favre playing with the flu. I could go on, but it just doesn't happen anymore.
So do you feel that now with medical science, now telling us things, future ramifications of, you know, brain injuries and things like that, you're thinking maybe that the toughness of the past was kind of not wise to go through, but, or, you know, we didn't know what was going on. So
to a certain extent, but again, sitting out 2 or 3 games with turf toe, really? I mean, come on.
The emotional damage of, you know, or anything.
Ricky Rudd's eyes being swollen shut, so he tapes them open because he didn't want to miss a race.
Right. Well, and you get who was it? Was it Wilt Chamberlain, or who re-entered the game with a broken leg? Played for the Knicks. I'm sorry.
I know who you're talking about. I remember that.
I've slept since yesterday, so apologize about that. But anyway, so, yeah, athletes were tougher back then. Third thing, college football is better being dominated by 4 or 5 programs every year. Would you tweet that or would you delete that?
Delete it.
Delete it.
Unless it's your team doing the dominating. I think people like seeing new teams surface at the top every so often. Hype's always highest at the start of a season, and I believe that parity among teams keeps that hype going longer. I remember when UNLV was making their runs, that's all you would hear about. Everybody was all excited about it. And it seems like more so in college basketball, every so often a new team will creep up, and it just makes it more exciting.
So
I really think the Clemson-Alabama rivalry, it's a great rivalry, but it's also, I think, kind of tarnishing the national championship in football.
Well, and it's, of course, I know that ESPN did advertising revenue is down because, again, it's the same teams. It's the same, you know, they're basically advertisers are saying we're going to talk to the same people over and over and over. So, anyway, of course, so there's always that angle with it. So, fourth thing, would you tweet or delete the following? The best UConn, Tennessee, or Notre Dame women's basketball team would advance to at least the Sweet 16 in any men's tournament. Tweet it or delete it.
I can't believe you even sent me that. Delete it.
Delete. Oh,
Delete it. I love watching.
Oh.
Now, let me finish.
Wait a minute.
Let me finish.
Why is my phone vibrating with the text? Hold on.
Let me finish.
Oh, my
I
goodness.
love watching women's basketball. I really do. The discipline required, the technicality of it.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great sport. But physically, I don't think they could compete with the men's team. I've heard in years past that Pat Summitt would actually have, I believe it was the Bearden boys team, come and scrimmage her teams each summer, and the Lady Vols couldn't beat a high school team. It's just the physicality of it. Now, when it comes down to basics and ball handling and that kind of thing, they probably, I couldn't imagine them not doing better than Bearden. But just physically, genetically speaking, I don't think so.
So you would delete that.
I would delete that.
All right. Uh-oh. All right.
We've got people lining up.
We've got people here at the campus ready to go on the air. So we may have some popped-up interviews here in just a few minutes. All right, but let's finish our.
Let's move on quickly before there's a lynch mob forming for me outside.
Yes, my phone. I don't know why it keeps vibrating. All right, so the fifth thing, all right, here on Tweet It or Delete It, would be the NFL's become too complex with their rules to even be considered real football. Tweet that or delete that.
Before I answer, I want you to hear my response all the way through.
Okay.
Delete it.
The end. Okay.
I'm not a fan of all these rules, the new rules that have come out. I understand the reasoning behind the helmet-to-helmets, but I think it's been taken to the extreme. Nowadays, it seems like there is a plethora of targeting calls. And to me, I don't even like the wording of that. If a receiver is catching the ball, what's the defensive back's job? To target that receiver.
To break him loose.
So, I mean, they're doing what they're supposed to do. But at its basic core, it is still football.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I would definitely. Yeah, it's not. I don't think it's real football. I mean, because as you said, it's a watered down version. Yes, I mean, and I understand from player safety standpoint, and I mean, you are 20 years ago. There are 285-pound athletes running 4.3s or 4.5s, excuse me. Now they're 300-pounders running 4.4s. I mean, bigger, stronger. There's more damage, but again, with everything, a lot of rules are made by individuals that's never played it, and being someone that's played it within a millisecond to be able to make a decision. Okay, I need to put my head 3 inches to the left so I don't hit a helmet, so I don't get kicked out of the ball game. It's such a
Well,
yeah.
What I was thinking of with this is a lot of times too, and that's what I was talking about. They've taken it to the extreme. If they just went by, they deliberately knocked heads. That's one thing. Mm-hmm. But it was a UT game a couple of years ago, and I'm wanting to say it was Kurt Magid went in to tackle someone with the ball. At the last second, the receiver dropped his head down. Mm-hmm. And they wound up hitting helmet to helmet. Magid was coming in head up like you're supposed to do and all that. The receiver made that odd move, and he wound up being ejected because of it.
Yeah, that's just – anyway, all right, so that is Tweet It or Delete It for this week. If you've got suggestions, ideas, things, send them to us. Again, we do appreciate all the information and ideas. Of course, like I said, with our fan questions.
You're just trying to get me in trouble.
Yes, indeed. So as there is a mob that's starting to form outside of angry young ladies, I don't know what they're here for. But anyway, so we'll have to see what happens. Talking about some other Gate City sports going on right now, we've got some results that's starting to come in. Results from the cross-country meet that was just held at the Wilderness Road State Park in Ewing, Virginia. Our girls have placed first overall.
Outstanding.
Individual. Again, Suzanne Moore, this is the third meet in a row she has won. She won with a time of 21:45. We also claimed 3rd, 9th, and 11th place as well in that particular group. In the boys division, Will Miller was the top place finisher for Gate City, time of 19:04. We also secured 11th and 13th spots as well. And for the third straight meet as well, Ethan Dingus is number one. Again, he won it again for Gates. He's Gate City Middle School runner. course, they have these on Wednesdays. We'd love to be able to interview some of them. Of course, we had Suzanne Moore to start the season. But anyway, he ran a time of 13:39.
Those times are unbelievable. For high school meets, they typically run a 5K. That's 3.1 miles. So to come in at 18 minutes on a cross-country course, you're talking a 6-minute pace, 6 minutes and some change.
I mean, these are some phenomenal. I mean, and they've done such a great job. Sean Baker, want to say thank you again, the cross-country coach for Gate City that supplied us this information. So also right now, just went final. Gate City's middle school volleyball team has just taken out Twin Springs. They've knocked them off. Let's see, I'll get you some scores here in just a second if I get my phone to work. Yep, 25-10, 25-13. Again, and 25-11 was the 3 sets. Again, they knocked off Twin Springs to stay undefeated on the season. So I know we've talked a lot. We've got somebody else here who might want to talk.
Coach, I'm so glad you're here. Joe's getting me in hot water.
I mean, he's talking about
he asked me to compare women's basketball to men's,
and he traveled, and so someone that you might be able to talk to.
I traveled and double dribbled and all sorts trying to get out of that one.
Coach Kelly House-Wright, we might know her. Can talk a little bit about the boys versus girls comparison as well. So anyway, we've got Coach House-Wright here with us. Thanks, Coach, for spending just a few minutes with us. I know that you got a lot of preparations, a lot of things going on this week. So first, though, let's talk about last Friday, your initial thoughts. Again, you matched up well. Kids played extremely hard. You had some chances. Talk to us a little bit about the game.
I think we got to learn to handle a little adversity a little bit better. That first play of the game kind of shell-shocked us a little bit. Just my opinion, and we just got to do better. The kids are playing better. We got to teach them better. It's a process right now for all of us, and I think everybody kind of got ahead of ourselves after the big win first week, and we're work in progress every day. And we're getting back to rep by rep, day by day. We're just trying to get better all the time now.
How are you health-wise? I know that DeAndre went out with an ankle, and just overall, you don't have to give any secrets away, but how are you overall as a team?
Overall, we're pretty healthy. We got a couple of kids banged up right now, but that's part of the game. Going into week 4, we got a couple guys, but not too many. So hopefully we'll be okay.
Well, I do think it seems like the injuries have been minimal. One of my concerns at the start of the season was such a small roster, and if you get 2 or 3 that go down, that's going to really create some problems. But it seems like you all have done a really good job in the summer getting them ready for this, because there's not been a whole lot of injuries.
The kids, they worked hard this summer. They did, and and that's a testament to them, and that's helped them get ready for what's coming. So.
And it shows, even with the ball distribution in terms of the number of carries, you've got, you had Calhoun with 12 carries. You had DeAndre, which was when he was in there, I think had 6 carries. You had, Levi had, I think 6, and Luke Reed had about 4 or 5. So being able to distribute gives you some opportunities to not just have one bell cow basically.
Yeah, and it helps us with a little bit. We got some depth at some running back places. The guys can give us a little bit, and that helps us. Helps us rest them when they need it, and then other times when we got to give it to them, we're going to give it to them.
What was the team's sort of initial thoughts Monday, Tuesday of practice after again knowing that what happened? There was 4 turnovers, 11 penalties in the ball game. Were they down? Were they up? Were they like, okay, let's just wipe the slate clean and get ready for Ridgeview, or what was the overall sentiment of the team?
They're hard-working kids. They're not down. We know it's a process. We're growing every day. We're getting better, and this week's been a pretty good week of practice. I think it's probably one of our best weeks. So hopefully we can translate it in Friday night.
It's been one of the driest. Are we ever going to get any rain anymore?
We need some. We need some bad.
I was thinking about the field, and of course I was talking about the artificial turf, and I was like, man, it's. I know at Rye Cove. There'd be it'd be dust within the first 3 weeks. So it's dry here in Gate City. So let's talk a little bit about Ridgeview. Again, very good football team. Of course, the Adkins kid. Talk a little bit about them as in general, and your initial thoughts coming up on Friday night.
They got they're a good football team. They've got a a really good running back, and their offensive line's really good. And, they got a couple playmakers out at wide receiver. And